Health Education Lecture Series. All the listeners of Health Education Lecture Series, I'm your host, Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, homeopathic consultant. My clinic address is 9701 Sarah N. Court, Dublin, California 94568. Phone number 408 687 1899. And since many years, we are delivering these lectures of health education lecture series so that every person should be aware about his health. As far as possible, we are trying to convey you the messages how you can keep your body healthy, how the life was created, and how was it developed, and ultimately during this journey, what were the complications this life has faced from time to time. And everything has been discussed systematically in a series of lectures. And we have now reached to the adulthood. In my past times, we have started, we have given you the knowledge about how the pregnancy occurs, how ovum is fertilized, how this life starts in the mother's womb and the fallopian tubes, ultimately how it comes into the reaches into the uterus and how it develops over there. What is the menstruations? What is the basic thing which initiate the new birth, new life progress? In this way, ultimately, we develop the whole phase of 280 days in during these lectures, that how this life was going on within 280 days when the child was in mother's womb. What were the complications at that time? What were the problems at that time? What were the diseases at that time? We have all discussed during that phase. And ultimately, ultimately, we have discussed about when this child came out of mother's womb. We have, in between that, we have discussed about the labor periods. What is a labor? How it is initiated, what are the reasons behind that. If a child was living normally in the mother's womb, and what was the reason why it came out or why this labor has started. So all these things are a type of hormonal reactions which happens inside the body, and due to those this labor starts, and ultimately the labor results that this child comes out from mother's womb, and ultimately it starts a new life separate from the mother. And ultimately, when it was in the mother's womb, he was carefree. There was nothing problem, you can say. He was moving about. He was mother was eating, feeding him through the umbilical cord, and everything was going normal. But now, though all the systems in his body was ready to work, even then he came out of mother's womb. And now those systems which were ready to work, which were working very safely, smoothly, because everything was supplied from the mother in the safest way. But now, when it comes out of mother's womb, he has been given a different type of food. And from that food he has to synthesize a different kind of enzymes and different kind of energy products like vitamins and minerals from that dose, from that food which is given now. And previously everything was prepared given by the mother, and now his body, different organs of his body, different organs of all different systems are supposed to work, and has to discharge their liabilities, and to bring up this food up to the mark that it is assimilated inside the blood and converted into the energy when it is going to the cells. So this is what happened. These are the changes which took place when it came out of mother's womb. And ultimately, it started growing. For the first year, we told you, for the first year, a label was given to this newborn life as a newborn. And after 1 year, this label was converted into toddler's age. And in this newborn age, there were various diseases. Previously, the children were dying because of those diseases, and we were not aware of those. And after that, we were not having proper treatment for those things. How we can prevent them? And ultimately, the medical science learned all those things, and then we have started vaccinations, a process by which we can prevent all these dreadful diseases by which many of the children were dying because of unawareness of the humanity of the medical science about those diseases, and also how to overcome all diseases, how to cure all those diseases. So ultimately, we were at that juncture that vaccination were added to the history of the mankind, and ultimately those diseases which were killing many of the children at this newborn age, now they are surviving, now they are safe under effect of these vaccinations. Though there are some of the bad effects of the vaccinations, some of the persons, some of the new lives have suffered from that, but even then it is advocated that we must continue this thing, because of some losses we can save a big profit, a big we can save the lives. Millions and millions of life of the children are saved because of these vaccinations. Therefore, we advocate, we advise that you should continue with the vaccinations as far as possible, so that your child, one thing it is sure that yes, your child will be survived, your child will be safe from all these dreadful diseases which we have already discussed with you one by one. Hepatitis, whooping cough, and many, many other things I have discussed with you. I do not want to waste time on that, because for each and every disease, I have given a full lecture about that one. That these were the diseases, and for this kind of disease, what type of vaccination has been developed and given to the children, and ultimately resultant in that they are surviving, that they are no more suffering from these kind of problems, and they are no more dying, going out of life because of this deficiency. But now vaccination has fulfilled all these conditions. And so after that, this child entered into a new era of life that was known as adolescence age. And that adolescence age was when the toddler's age is completed within 5 years or up to 5 years. From 1 year onward, furthermore 5 years, this toddler's age was also having the similar type of problems, and also still the process of vaccination was still continued, and which was completed up to the age of 14 years of age in each children's. Their booster doses are given, and then it is declared that yes, this child is now safe from this disease for lifelong. It is presumed that even if anybody has to suffer from all these things, this medicine is still inside your body. This medicine is still working to protect you from that kind of virus, from that kind of bacteria, and all that. And some of the diseases occurs in the life, in a different phase of life, with a different name, but the the affecting bacteria or virus is the same, just like the herpes zoster we have talked about many times. Previously, it was producing pox, measles, these kind of things. But now, at the old age, that virus remains preserved inside our body, but remains latent inside the body. It's not affecting. It's not causing any hindrances inside the body, but it was still there. And ultimately, when the environment comes suitable for this virus in the old age, then it may again erupt. If the environment is suitable, means if it is again affected, if again coming in contact with these kind affected with the any person or children affected with that virus, means the herpes zoster. And if this person having oversensitivity from this virus and goes in contact with that person who is already suffering at this age, maybe a child, maybe an adult person, then he may catch, or there may be a reappearance of the same disease, but the name is given different at this time. Though the causing bacteria is the same, herpes zoster, but the disease they are producing is similar type of conditions, but called shingles. These shingles are the problems which are also erupting the vesicular eruptions, pustular eruptions on the route of the nerves. Wherever the nerve course is, they cover the nerve courses, whatever the nerve is affected, and that produces the same type of pox type of eruptions inside the body, and it is very painful because it is attacking the function of the nerves, and it's very painful. So this kind of things may happen if that bacteria remains preserved inside the body, and after a long time, the same person has been exposed again, re-exposed, you can say, with the person that who is having an active phase of this bacteria, this virus in their childhood, just like measles and pox, varicella, all these things, and it can reappear in those conditions. So this is what we have discussed about the toddler's age. After that, we have discussed about the adolescence age. This adolescence age we described in detail for many weeks of lectures, that this is a no man's type of lands when parents becomes independent, or parents becomes carefree from the maintenance, or from taking care of his children, because they think their child is now sufficiently intelligent and is capable of taking care of himself, for all his duties, for all his functions at home, at school, and outside. So then the parents becomes carefree, but ultimately we were ignorant about that one. That at the same time our child is entering into a new society, and when there is a vacancy and other societies intervening in his life, in his mentality, ultimately you do not know what of advices that society will give him, and he will be dragged into what type of lifestyle and what type of habits he will be dragged into, and that those habits may or may not be suitable for your culture, or may not fit to your mentality, and ultimately it will create a tension. It will create a tension in between the family members, and especially with your growing children at the adolescence age. At that adolescence age, we have already discussed that male and female both have their different characteristics, prominently abrupt up outward. Means a girl was named as girls when she born. A boy was named as boy, as a male child, when he was born, because of the external impression of the body structures. What was the body structure that indicates that this is a male, this is a female? In that way, the doctor told us that you have a boy child, you have a girl's child, whatever it is. But ultimately, I have given you the examples when by the some of the defects in the nature, mm, uh, some roles are changed, and that roles are not only changed in the mother's womb. There are sometimes in the mother's womb these changes occur, but after, when it comes out of mother's womb, sometimes this changes again reappear, and a male becomes female, and a female becomes male child. And ultimately, after that child goes into the adolescence age, which we are talking about now, at the adolescence age, this child, again, there are chances that may convert into different sex. Male may become female, or female may become a male child at this age. And I have told you in these lectures that this is all because of the hormonal fight in between his body. Hormonal fight, whatever the hormone is supervening in his body, that expresses these outward sex and sex organs of the person. In the same way the girls becomes boy and boy becomes girls. Ultimately, ultimately during this phase, which we are calling the toddler's age, ultimately at this phase a condition comes when it is not possible that a girl can become a boy can become a girl, but because all of the secondary sex characters has developed at this condition, all the sex characters has been developed. Just like in the females, there is a soft voice. In the female, there is a deposition of a fat on the cheeks and on the breast, on the hips, and all that. And it becomes more soft. And the voice is more soft. Ultimately, the reverse to that, a boy's body has attained a hard masculine shape. A boy has attained a hard voice. A boy has attained a different type of secondary sexual characters. The same thing happens in the females, just like the axillary hair, and just like the hair develops on the female male genital organs. Both they have, and also the one more thing that in case of a male, there is a development of the seminal fluids, semens, and from the prostate, and as well as the production of the spermatozoa, which has started inside the testes, and they are coming out with any erection and type of stimulations after that. Whereas, on contrary to the male, in female cases, the positive sign of that she is a female, that is the menstruations. With all body structure changes which we have just explained, the soft voice, deposition of more fat, becomes a soft body. All these things, one again change comes known as menstruations. Just like I told you, there is this production of the spermatozoas, there is a production of the seminal fluid in the males, and some of the common signs of both sexes of the hair. You can say the axillary hair is the moustaches in the males and clean face in the females, and genital hairs on both the sexes. So all these things are running parallel, but under some conditions, these parallel running conditions are still inside, having a different quality of life. Means a boy thinks like the girls, a girl thinks like the he's a boy, and feel that she or he is in a different physical structure. So in this way, I have added you the examples many a times in these lectures that parents are ready to get marry their son or their daughters, and the daughter or the son declares it was not possible before that. But nowadays, they are at the extent that they declare openly that I do not want to marry a girl, I do not want to marry a boy. The same type of conditions happens in front of the parents, and the parents are helpless at that condition. But these are all things happening because of the hormones which are being produced inside that at the toddler's age, and all these conditions happens because of those hormones. So means hormones are the main keynotes for all these things which are happening in a male body or happening in a female body. If it's coming in a normal sequence and a normal dose and normal everything, yes, a girl remains girls. And if it goes normal, yes, a male boy body is competently the male sides in this way. But if these hormonal exchange inside the body is reversed to each other, ultimately this kind of unwanted things happens. We have already discussed about that one, why it happens, and then if it happens, what we see. After that, After that, we have discussed many changes at this adolescence age, except separate from these hormonal changes. That hormonal change is the normal things, the natural things. You cannot interfere in that one. Yes, you can. Nowadays, the doctors are using these hormones as a magic stick, and changing the lifestyle and changing the habits of the person, as well, with the introduction of these hormones more or less inside the body. But even then, if everything is going normal, if everything is going normal, even then some of the children, because of some deficiencies, they suffer from different kind of situations, which is known as hysteria, or which is known as hysteria, or which is known as schizophrenia. We have discussed yesterday in other Punjabi or Hindi lectures already. So in this way, we have discussed about the hysteria conditions, that this is a type of acute condition which a person going through the adolescence age can face. We are not talking about the adults. We are talking about the adolescence age, where they are still not competent for those authorities, but even then they are considered as adolescence age. And if their thoughts are suppressed, if they are unable to express themselves, if they are unable to organize their life, if they are unable to competent to discharge their duties at this age, then ultimately anxiety comes. And if that anxiety is not treated, is not taken carefully by the parents or by the teachers at that time, whatever the society he is entering in, then ultimately it increases to an extent, and that extent ultimately is very difficult for the parents to see. And some of the conditions are unbearable, unbearable by the society, unbearable by the just like you can say a stubborn child. A stubborn child, even the teacher complains, even the parents or the society complains that he's a stubborn child. But nobody try to understand the inside facts of this child, that what has been suppressed, what are the thoughts he was having, want to express, but he could not. And if he could not express those thoughts, definitely it will concentrate in his mind, and he will not be able, they will occupy a space in their mind. And when they will occupy a space in their mind, and ultimately in this condition, the normal mind will be taken up at least some percentage, or diverted from the some percentage normal extent to the abnormal things. And just like you can say the chorea type of symptoms, just like the paralysis type of symptoms, just like even this blindness type of symptoms, in the half blindness or even the night blindness, and all these things can happen if we do not understand the condition of the children. If we do not understand the condition of the children and do not address them suitably, and do not discharge our duty, whatever, towards the children's, adult children's, and resolve their issues, we are we should be able to convince our children that at this age there are many things happening physically inside your body, and that's a normal phase, and you have to accept those things. And ultimately, whatever happens at this age, that's a normal phase. And if ever there be any problem created by these, just like the pimples, acnes, and they causes some type of blemishes on your face, and you feel it very badly that my face is not looking good, and it's ugly type of face, then you may be depressed. But it's the duty of the parents, and nowadays classes are given into the schools for the sex education and as the maintenance of their personality, how you can maintain your personalities. And under these conditions, teachers and the parents jointly should address all these suppressions of a children, so that they should not become hysteric. I told you the hysteric things are the uh, acute type of exacerbations of the internal suppression inside a body. That body may be of a female, that body may be of a male child. And if it is addressed normally, yes, the children may recover from this thing. Children may not go towards the anxiety, may not go towards the depression ultimately, and everything will become normal in a short period and after a short time. But if it is not addressed properly, and if the children are not convinced that this is the normal phase of your life and everybody has to go through this one more or less, and also you will be become a normal handsome boy or you will become a beautiful girls ultimately after this period. Have you ever listened that a young boy that a married girl or you can say the young man has suffered from the pimples or acne or blemishes, all that one? Yes, ladies suffer from blemishes because of the some problems in their menstrual phase, whereas the acne and all these things, these are over when their normal sexual life goes on. It what it means? It means that whatever the hormones are to be liberated at this age, they are liberating, they are in excess of quantity. And they are in excess of quantity, and those excess quantity is not released by normal evacuation routes of the body, that is stool, urine, sweating, breathing, and all that thing. And these excess of the hormones which were not released by these means, or which are not released by the semen analysis, or which are not released by the menstrual bleeding in case of females, ultimately they are deposited inside the skin, mostly in the skin, and ultimately they come up in the shape of eruptions and in the shape of pimples and acne, and all these things will happen. This is a normal thing. If you tackle, if you interact with your children, yes, they may come out of this depression, that their body, that their face is looking ugly. But that's a timely fashions if you deal it with it. Ultimately, if you could not control, or if you do not discharge your parental duty towards your children or the teacher and their students, then ultimately this condition may increase. And the second phase of this condition in the adolescence, I'm talking about the adolescence, I'm not talking about the adult general persons categories, only the adolescence which is mainly concerned with the change of the hormones, which is mainly concerned with the production of the hormones, though these hormones were also produced at the time when they were born. That is why a different body was given, male body or female body was given, because there are different hormones are produced inside the body and they were working ultimately. But at the adolescence age, they are aggravated, or they are produced in excess. And when they are produced in excess, and if they are not normally discharged, then ultimately they are suppressed inside the body, and they may produce mental and physical changes in any body wherever it is suppressed. And this is what I'm telling you. In our society, we have a structure of the society that every girl who is getting married should be 18 years of age. Every boy who is getting married should be 21 years of age. But nature has its own pattern set up for everybody. Nature is not going according to your society. Nature is going according to its own norm. And its own norm is that whenever a girl start menstruating, with all other physical changes are going on inside her body because of the hormone, separate hormones of the feminine hormones, you can say. And the same way a boy has gone through a changes and eruptions of the testosterone hormones, and by their different changes inside your body are going on, then there is a discharge of semen, there is the production of the spermatozoa, and the female, there is the discharge of menstrual bleeding, and all these things are happening. It means the nature has certified you that this body is now competent to reproduce the life. Because I have told many times in my lectures that the actual purpose of our life is to produce life from life. Our other functions, our other duties, our other whatever we are doing in our life, that is secondary to this conditions. Kulli, gulli, julli. Food, shelter, clothing. All these things this body needs. But these are the secondary things to protect this condition that a life should produce a new life. So this is the main thing. And now the nature has certified you that you are certified for their purpose for which you are here in this life. Means everything has been started. All the internal organs are doing their duty, whatever they are supposed to, in male and female children. But those things we are suppressing by our society, by our pressure. We do not allow all these things. We suppress that. And ultimately, those suppressions sometimes comes in the phase of nightfalls. Sometimes some of the children's they discharge it by masturbations and all that. But if they do not do that because of some hesitations, because of some suppression and feelings of their society, of their parents, and all that, ultimately they may become. It's not necessary that all the kids will become hysteric, but they may become hysteric. And ultimately, this is the suppression of their sex life mainly because this is the new change. This is the excess change which is going on in the in the adolescence age, and that is not being discharged. And if it is not being discharged, it is suppressed inside the body, and ultimately it will bring up something new. And that bring up something new will be the condition of depression, anxiety, and ultimately will convert it into hysteria type of things. So I told you this hysteria is an acute exacerbations of the suppressed feelings. Whatever has been suppressed inside, it's acute exacerbations of that one. And ultimately, this acute exacerbation, if it is not controlled in timely fashions, or if it is not discharged, whatever it is, it should be just like getting married, or like just like doing normal sex, just like doing masturbation or discharging all these things. In this way, if this is not being discharged and suppression is still there mentally and physically, and ultimately it results in some of the condition in which a psychiatric department deals as illusions and hallucinations. And we have described in my previous lectures the illusion is a condition related to the hysteric type of condition. Hysteric type of conditions are the acute exacerbations of the suppressions. So ultimately, illusion means illusion. Things are there, object is there, but this is expressed in a different way, in a different nature. You see a rope is there, object is there, and ultimately you see there's a snake. If it happens at night, means when your pineal body is working and pineal body is working according to the nature, and the nature says now it's a dark phase. At that dark phase, even even you close the door and there's a darkness in your rooms, ultimately the same thing. Artificially created circadian circulations or naturally circadian system which deals with the nature's darkness and daylight time. In this way, if it happens that any person interprets any object in a different way, that is hysteric. But if every person or any person do this thing in a darkness, no, they are not, all are not hysterics. But if in the daytime someone out of those expresses the same thing, we see rope, I see rope, Out of 10 people, 9 people says that this is a rope, but out of 10, 1 person says this is a snake. This is a snake. Object is there. So this is the acute exacerbations at the adolescence age, and this is known as has a hysteric exacerbations of the suppressed sexual desires, suppression of their hormones being produced at that time, maybe male, maybe in females. And sometimes, because of these things, when these things are still not taken carefully and managed, ultimately a physical body expresses himself as a powerlessness, as a out of control functioning, just like a Korea. I'm picking up something and my hands are trembling, and my head is shaking, my eyes are twitching. Some unusual functions of our body function that comes later. If you have not tackled these situations of the adolescence age in a proper way, then it may increase into this phase. So you should be, as a parent, careful to understand your adolescents children's, that they are now entering in a phase where they are having a different type of production inside their body. If anything you eat out of from the outside, just like you take a capsule, you take a medicines, ultimately it will produce something inside the body. But if that reaction, that medicine or whatever you have taken, even the food you have taken, it is excess from your capacity, ultimately it will be evacuated from the body by the normal routes. But if it's not evacuated normally in a timely fashions, ultimately it will express their symptoms on your skin. And that is known as reaction. We say, oh, I took this medicines and now I'm having a reaction of this one. All these things we generally see every day. The same thing. That was, I am just giving this example because you can understand it easily. From outside, a medicine was given, and you know that outsidely medicine was given. That is why a person is having reactions, a person is having side effects. He has eruptions on the skin, he has itching on the skin, or something like breathlessness, or something like palpitation, or many other things like reactions that you can say. But you do not know that at this age, some excessive production of the hormone is going inside. Just like you can say the autotoxin and endotoxins, autotoxins and endotoxins, automatically, okay, or outside side effects, outside side effects of the outside products and side effects of the inside products. So this is the inside products, and this is the natural things. This happens with each and everybody, male or female, at this age. So then we must be ready to maintain all these things in timely fashions. Second important thing in this one is, sometimes you know that this is the rainy season, and you know this rainy season comes in this month after October or November. This is a rainy season here in Western countries, and you are well prepared for that one, that now the rainy season is coming, now the ice season is coming up, and we have to prepare the things according to that so that they should not wet outside and it should not disturb our normal working, if you know that. But yes, you know the season comes in October or in November. But what happens if this season comes in August or September? Then you are not prepared for that. And you do not know about this thing, just like and this interpretation. People say, oh, on the third day there will be a shower, on this and that there will be ice, or whatever. They are saying that way. In this way, this type of condition before this puberty age, before this adolescence age, sometimes in some bodies happen normally, that is known as pre-puberty syndrome. So this pre-puberty syndrome is a normal phenomena. Sometimes because of the environment, because of the food materials, because of the society and impression on our mind may come early, just like the monsoons, change of weather, change of season may come early or may come late because of the environmental changes. In this way, and in some of the bodies, these type of pre-puberty syndromes may come early, and we should be prepared for that. And we will be prepared only if we know about this thing. That now the black clouds are coming, and yes, and they are the indicator of the rain. In this way, we can understand that. The same way, if we know about this body, this is what my purpose is to delivering these lectures, that you should know about that this thing can happen early than the normal phase. It can happen early than the normal phase, and you should be prepared for that. Same way you are preparing in a normal way. Suppose if it comes 18 years of age, and you know that now my girl or my boy is growing in age, and now it's becoming adult, and these are the changes normal in this way. And yes, we should manage to getting him married or getting her married. In this way, we can do that one. But if it comes early, the child is of 10 years or 11 years old or 12 years old, these things are happening in this way, and ultimately you are not aware of that one. And you do not know about that one, you will slap your children, and it will create a tension in your families. But this is not the solution. This is not the solution. It will relatively again suppress the condition, again they suppress their sexual desire, and that may result into the hysteric type of condition, because this is not the way to discharge it. This is not the way to antidote the internal reaction of these hormones. They should come up. That is the normal phase. You cannot suppress it. In this way, you should be sufficiently intelligent to watch the condition, to diagnose the condition, that this is a pre-puberty syndrome, that this is puberty syndrome, and this is inevitable condition. This must has to come. And in these conditions, what you have to do as a parents, you get married to your children, you arrange something. In this way, you have to do those things, not be ashamed that what your child is doing, what your girl is doing. No, because it's a natural phenomenon. But now, before this era, when society was not so sufficiently intelligent, they were thinking that boys are spoiled, the girls are spoiled, because they are doing some type of incidents, actions which are not accepted by the societies. This is what we are saying. And ultimately, those children who were thinking in these lines, they are suppressing their sex. And suppression of sex suppresses these hormones, but they cannot, and ultimately they results in the hysteria and in all these conditions. Now I will come to the another condition which I have already told in my previous lectures in Hindi and Punjabi very clearly. I told them, and the other condition is known as schizophrenia. Mostly people correlate this schizophrenia with the male child. Mostly hysteria, they said it's for the females, and schizophrenic, they said it's for the male. It's not. There's no reason. Mainly, it is outburst of the hormones, means internal toxin, but we cannot explain it toxin. Toxin means altogether, every time, whenever it is taken, it is a toxin. It is injurious to the health. But the hormones are not injurious to the health. There is a production of the hormone, that's a normal thing. But your body or your society do not allow them to express themselves as they want to be. Testosterone hormones producing spermatozoas, producing semen, it should be discharged. Menstruations or hormonal expressions of the female, of the children should come up, but we take it otherwise. Oh, that girl is not good girls. Why? Because she is expressing the expression of their hormones. So this is what going on in our society, and we should be intelligent sufficiently so that this type of condition we can eradicate permanently. If we understand this thing will happen ultimately if we do not manage it, and if you manage it timely, ultimately these things will not come. Pneumonia when there's a cold season and you are in the heat inside the rooms, and when you go outside you have to cover up yourself so that there should not be immediate exposure of the cold from the outside. You will be saved from pneumonia. But if you do not take care of your body like this one, ultimately you will come with a pneumonia, cold, cough, this and that, fever, and ultimately it will be diagnosed as pneumonia. In this way, these are the hormones, and they are supposed to produce effect the body at normal timings. But sometimes, because of the society, because of the food, because of some other internal changes inside the body, they may come early. And if they come early, we should be intelligent sufficiently as a parents or as a teacher so that we can guide those children in spite of suppressing them. In spite of suppressing their thoughts, we should be sufficient and intelligent so that we can guide these type of children. And there should not be an advanced condition of his sickness, of his mental suppressions that they cause hysteria. On the contrary, I talked about this schizophrenia. Schizophrenia basically is a regular increasing type of mental state which generally occurs in those children whose parents were having either ADHD or autism. May be both father and mother, maybe one parents, they are having from their parents or from their acquired conditions these type of things in their life, and ultimately they bear another children, they give birth to another children, and ultimately those children are having inside their genes this property that they are outburst. You call the it's a stillborn children, they are having the outburst type of things. And if you slap them, if you beat them, if you suppress them by all kind of means, and ultimately they will come to the again this mental state. All the things which I have described about the hysteria will happen in that one, but that will come gradually. In hysteria, I told you these conditions could be cured, could be repeated, but cured. And ultimately, when they get married, ultimately everything is resolved because there is no suppression of these kind of things. But this type of schizophrenic conditions, they are not cured. These are not cured. These may be suppressed, these may be minimized and controlled, but they could not be cured permanently because it is something in their genes. How you can differentiate it? How you can differentiate it? I told you about the hysteric conditions that they are having illusions in their minds when it is out of control, when it is suppressed, and ultimately it is outbursting in the shape that he becomes mental patient, that is the hysteric patients, and they start seeing illusions like rope as a snake. But here it's advanced condition in case of schizophrenic patient. This is a differentiation between the two. Hallucination. You might have heard about this is the second term mostly used in the psychiatric departments, the illusions and hallucinations. Halluci means hollow, nothing there. Then something is watching me. Oh, something is hidden under my bed. Something is there, this and that. They feel scared from unphysical bodies. They are not having any physical bodies, they are not having any object over there, but they are still scared, doubtful, always suspicious, All these things are the indication of that person is having schizophrenic condition. In this way, this condition could be maintained. We can maintain this thing by a regular interacting with your children and guiding them time to time properly according to the situations. But yes, I told you, it's very difficult to cure them permanently forever. As I declared it, the hysteric type of conditions are, we are able to cure them permanently and manage them easily if we are competent, if we know the reasons behind that, causes behind that. So your children at the adolescence age is entering into a new society and you do not know about the society, what way your child will go, how he will be indulged into the new society, what different kind of thoughts they will put in your children's mind, and ultimately those thoughts may not be acceptable to you or may be acceptable to you. But if they are not, ultimately it will create a tension in it with the parents and children, and that causes ultimately a depression. To save that depression, it's a must that you interact all the time with your children. Do not feel that now my child is sufficient intelligent, he goes to the college, he goes to the university, and he knows what to do, what not to do, and you are careful because of those things, and ultimately he does something in the other society. Something has invaded in his mind by the other society, and he's scared because in my society, in my parents, this is not acceptable. And when my parents will come to know that, oh, I'm doing this thing, and he is depressed only by thinking this thing. Therefore, I advise all the parents who are listening these lectures that always remain in touch with your children, even if they are going to school, no matter. Even then, they are entering into a new society. Do not create a gap, space that the other society can invade and put in some other thoughts which are not acceptable to you, and there is a difference of thoughts and opinions between you and your children, and that causes depression because child depends upon you, but child wants to do something which you may or may not accept. Therefore, it is a must that you always remain in touch with your children, and you always advise your children to the best of your judgment whatever you have passed through your lives, so that your child will be saved from hysteric type of conditions. And even if he's a schizophrenic type of conditions, even then, your support, your help, your collaborations will maintain all these conditions, and we can maintain the normal society. Today, our time is going to be over. Tomorrow, if I get a time, I'm not sure about today, sorry, tomorrow, but if I get a time, we will start a new chapter when a child becomes adult. Fully now we declare that now he has passed the phase of this adolescence age, and now he is fully grown up child, means adult child. And at adult phase, what is the duty of the parents? Now I told you that all the time you should remain attached to your children, you should get together, you should interact with your children, but now a different phase of life is starting in the life. We will discuss the diseases, whatever he can face at this age when he is entering into the adult age. But before that, I would like to give one lecture to my colleagues, my parents, the parents of the children, because now your duties are different. Now your duties are changed. What type of change will come up from the adolescence to the adult age? Your child is entering into adult age, and what you should change in your behavior, and how you should maintain the harmonious culture in your at your home. So that we will be discussing tomorrow, if I get a time. But if I could not get time, then definitely I will do it after that one. I think that perhaps I will not be able to do it tomorrow, but even then, even then day after tomorrow, because it's a regular lecture. I'm doing it every day, but sometimes because of the social works, family works, sometimes I'm unable to do a regular lecture. And as you know, one day is for the English, the other day is for the Hindi, the other day is for the Punjabi. So all the three languages I'm taking up, so that those who understand Hindi, they can understand in Hindi. Those who understand in Punjabi, they can understand in Punjabi. And those who are here and they understand English, yes, they can understand this in English. This is my duty towards my society. So whatever I know, I want to convey this to my society, so that in future we can maintain a good society, healthy society. So God bless you all. And this is Gurdeep Singh Sandhu, your homeopathy consultant. And my clinic address is 9701 Sarah and Court, Dublin, California, 94568. Phone number 408 687 1899. Anytime, if you are suffering from any disease and you want to take a second opinion about your disease, you can call me at 408 687 1899. Or if you want to be treated by homeopathic scientific approach, because homeopathic is a real scientific logical approach to your health conditions. And if you want to take a homeopathic proper way of treatment, yes, you can call me at 408 687 1899. And if you are far away and you can talk to me on phone, because the difference of time and all that, then you can send email to me, homeo medicine, HOMEOMEDICINE at yahoo.com. You can send your concern, you can send your history details on email, and you can get your answer as far as possible. I will try to do to satisfy you in this way. So God bless you all. We'll see you tomorrow if possible. Uh, Again, phone number 408 687 1899. Sat Sri Akal, Adab, Namaskar.